You should also have a brand new page in your notebook titled and dated as 1.3 distance and midpoint formula foldable, because we're going to take this foldable when we're done with it. We're going to glue it into our notebooks. Okay. So I'll give you a moment to title and date it. And then here's what you're going to do when you go to fold it. You should have the words, all these like crazy graphs facing you. And then you're going to take the top piece and you're going to fold it down to this center line so that it says distance formula on the top. And then you're going to do the same thing. You're going to take the bottom one and fold it up to the center so it looks like this. Like a little brochure almost. Okay, so I'll give you a second to do that, and I'll give you a second to write today's date and the title on your paper, and then we'll get started. And Alex. Sean and Kira. It's blonde over there. Okay. All right, we ready to get rumbling? Okay, so we are going to start. We're going to write it first, and then we'll glue it into our notebooks when we're done with it. So we're going to learn two different formulas today. First formula is talking about the distance between 2 points, and then the second one is going to talk about the midpoint, which is we'll talk about in a second. So distance formula. Now, first of all, if you are finding the distance between 2 points, what kind of number are you not allowed to have? What? Negative, exactly. You cannot walk a negative distance. So every time you try to find the distance between 2 points, it better be a positive number. If you're getting a negative number, you're doing something wrong. Okay, so it has to be a positive number. Now, has to be positive. Now we're going to start by writing down the formula, okay? And it's going to look really crazy, but just copy it down and I'll explain it after, okay? So the first thing we're going to start with is a very, very large square root symbol. Like super crazy large. Okay. Then you're going to make a parentheses. And you're going to write x with a little 2 at the bottom on the right. That's x sub 2 minus x sub 1. I'm going to close my parentheses and square it. Plus, and then I do the same thing for my y values. Y sub 2 minus y sub 1, and then square my values. Okay, distance between the 2 points. So here's all that formula says. I know it looks crazy, but here's all you're really doing. You are finding the difference between the x's and you're finding the difference between the y's. So I just want to know how much have you traveled on the graph, because we're going to do this on a graph. I just want to know how many points have you traveled by the x and how many have you traveled by the y. That's all that this says. I know it looks crazy, but it's going to be really easy as soon as we get to it. All right. Once you've got that written down, open it up, top flap. Okay. All right, and some important points like we saw before, it's the distance between 2 points. The answer has to be a positive number. Has to be a positive number, so you better not get negatives. It is okay to get a decimal. There's nothing wrong with a decimal, but it just has to be positive. All you're going to do is you're going to identify on the graph your 2 points, And then you're going to take those coordinates and you're going to plug them right into the equation. So for my first example here, it says find the distance between points A and C. So the first thing we're going to do is we're just going to write the coordinates of the points. Bless you. Write the coordinates of the points. So for point A, I want to know the x coordinate and I want to know the y coordinate. Now, show me with your arms. Which one of these, this horizontal or vertical, is the x-axis? Which one's x? Yes, 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 yes. Good. This one's your x. This one's your y. So we always go over first, up or down second. Who can give me the coordinates of point A? So you got to count. I know they're small. Sorry. Point A. What do you think? Elijah, what do you think?
3. Times the negative.
3. It's actually -7. But you were close, and it's not a very clear picture, so that was my fault. But you're good. You go over 3 to the right, and then down 7. That's how he's got the -7. You're going down. Okay, who can give me the coordinates for someone different? Point C. Point C. Sebastian, what do you think?
3, 0.
Oh, careful. It's the other way. 0, 3. So you don't go left or right, which means that's a 0 for your first point, and then you go up 3. So whenever you're writing coordinates, make sure you're going right or left first, up or down second. All right, now, here's what we're going to do. We're going to identify our coordinates that are the x coordinates. We're going to identify our coordinates that are the y coordinates. So if you're looking at the two values there, which one of those is the x coordinate in the first one? The 3. Good. What about the next one in the C?
0.
It's a 0. Good. Now, those are your two x values. I'm going to call them x1 and x2. All that the 1 and the 2 means is this is your first point. This is your second point. I also could flip it and go in the other order. It doesn't really matter, right? It's just naming which point they are. Now, I'm going to rewrite the distance formula, which is right here. I'm going to rewrite it. Okay. Did I put 1 first? X2. Okay. I'm just copying it down. One, 2. Copying it down. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to plug in my coordinates. Just plugging in some numbers. So the first two numbers are x2 minus x1. 0 minus 3. Beautiful. So right here, instead of putting x2 and x1, I'm literally going to put 0 minus 3. And I'm literally just copying. Close the parentheses, put a 2. Square it. Plus. Now, we picked this one first, right? We picked this point first. So when we do this one, we also have to pick this point first for your y values. You have to go in the same order. So for your y values, what are you going to put for your subtraction for your y values? What minus what? 3 minus -7. Good. We have to go in the same order. So we pick this one first over here. We pick this one first for the y's. 3 minus, and be really careful, this is a -7. Close my parentheses and square it. Now, in order to solve this, we are going to use order of operations. Who remembers order of operations? What's the rule? Elijah?
It's not like multiply, divide, add, subtract.
That is the second half of it. What's the first half? Parentheses. What are you going to say? Parentheses, exponents, then you multiply, divide. What's that little saying? PEMDAS. Yeah, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. Put that right above. Bless you. I think. Is that a sneeze? All right, let's follow the order of operations. What comes first? Parentheses. So we're going to do everything in the parentheses first. So let's do this one first. Work from left to right. What is 0 minus 3? Negative 3. Good. Close it and square it. Plus, we're going to do the same thing. Now, what is 3 minus negative 7? Who said that? How'd you get that? 7 plus 3, yeah, but why did you plus it? Yeah, Elijah? Ah, 2 negatives right next to each other make a positive. So if you ever see 2 negatives minus a minus, that means it's really plus. You were right. You were right. Go with your gut. Your gut was right. Okay, we close it and we square it. Great. We did parentheses. Beautiful. What's next? Yes?
You do the exponent and the square.
The squaring, which is the exponents. Good. Notice that I'm just rewriting the square root a whole bunch of times, right? You're going to be rewriting the square root times. Now, negative 3 squared means negative 3 times negative 3. What is that? Whoop. Whoop. Let's grab our calculators. Let's put in our calculators. Let's put in our calculators. Everybody take your calculator because you need to know how to do this anyway. We're going to put negative 3 squared into our calculator. Now, does anybody first of all know how to put negative 3 into their calculator?
Yes.
Okay, what do I do?
Plus the plus and this motion.
And then what? Push the 3. Did that work?
But you have to put the 3 first.
Okay, I have to put the number first and then the negative sign. Otherwise, it's not going to work. So I'm going to push 3 first, and then here's the negative positive right here. Click this little button. There you got negative 3.
And then click the X to it.
Beautiful. There is a squared button. You see you've got the squared here? I have a squared button on my calculator. It's right at the top, right there. Boom. All I got to do is push that button. What do you got? 9. Negative 3 times negative 3 is 9. Plus 10 squared. Whoa. 10 squared is 100. That means 10 times 10. Not 10 plus 10, 10 times 10. You get 100 there. Woo! All right, we're almost done. Now what? Adam, what do you get? 109. Woo! It's early. It's okay. It's a Monday. It's still early. We're good. Now, the distance between point C and point A, if I were to make this a distance, a line right here, is the square root of 109. Well, can you walk the square, like, would you know what I mean if I said, hey, walk the square root of 109 steps? Would you know what that means? No. So we're going to take that, we're going to put it into our calculators to get a more approximate value. So here's how you're going to do it. You're going to start, everyone's going to do it. Put 109 into your calculator first. 109. Now, to square root, that x squared button, you'll see it's right above it because that's the opposite of squaring something, is square rooting. Now, to get anything in yellow on this calculator, you have to push the shift button first. Okay, so you put 109, then you're going to push shift, and then you're going to push x squared. Shift x squared. What do you get? Did you guys all get 10.4? Did anybody not get 10.4? It's okay if you didn't, but tell me. Yay! Okay, so the distance between my 2 points is about 10.4, but 10.4 units if you want, but it's 10.4. And that's it. So all that this really is some algebra. It's just plugging into an equation. Okay? Now, example 2 is the same thing. You're just going to subtract the x's and square them, subtract the y's and square them. Do you think you can do number 2 without me?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, great. Work with people at your table. Try number 2. Before you try it, though, which ones are your x values? -1 and the -3. These are your x values. If I were you, I would label that. Which one's your y values? 4 and -4. Okay. Oops, I put the wrong thing there. This should be an x. That's a y and a y. Okay. All right. Now, Take a moment, give that a try, work with people at your table, see if you get the same answer. It does not matter which one you pick first for your X's or Y's as long as you keep the pattern the same. Keep the pattern the same. Careful of your negative signs. You can definitely talk to each other. That's fine. Good. Look good so far. Careful of those signs. So you are subtracting the 2, right? So this is subtraction. This is subtraction. So what happens if you minus a negative? It becomes a positive. So what is negative 1 plus 3? That. You're always subtracting. No matter what, distance formula always subtracts the 2. Should be a positive 2, yeah? Now what about the other one? Of course you can. I got some hands. Let's see. So -4 minus 4 is not 0. This means I borrowed $4 from you, and then I took another $4 from you. How much is that? There you go. I owe you $8 now. Beautiful. Give you one more moment. Looking pretty good. Start by writing the formula out. Rewrite the formula just like we did. Right? Rewrite it. These things. Get everything in parentheses first. You think so? Hold on. So we've got x, x, y, so in this addition, we're going to circle the x's and then cross the y's. So if you're going to do your x's, what you guys should be using here? Oh, 1 and -3. So your equation should be -1 minus -3. Yep, so you gotta change that one. And then if you're gonna do this one, well, actually, wait, you would here to do -4, so you do this one to this one. You're gonna do the same thing over here. You should do -3 minus -1, so you can just count the first one. Good. Do another second, and then we're gonna check. All right, now I'm going to show you something really beautiful here. it does not matter which one you chose to do first and which one you chose to do second. So if you decided to do this first point minus this second point, that's fine. And if you just decided to do this second point minus this first point, that's also fine. You're going to get the same answer regardless of which way you do it, which is the cool thing about the distance formula. So what I'm going to show you for this one is I'm going to do this one minus this one. So I'm going to start here and go to this one. If you went the other way, that's fine. I'm going to show you the other way in a second, but I'm going to do this one first, and then I'll show you how they are exactly the same. So if I go from here to here, I'm going to do my x's first. -3 minus -1. Close my parentheses and square it. Plus, do the same thing with my y's. I go from this one to this one. So I'm doing -4 minus 4. What should I do now? What's my first step? Yes? Add what? Beautiful. So -3 plus 1 is really, whoa, it's a -2. Plus -4 minus 4 is -8. Close it and square it. My next step in order of operations is the exponents. So -2 squared is 4. -8 squared is 64. If I add those together, I get the square root of 68. And when I put that into my calculator, I get about what? About 8.2. There's my final answer for the distance. Now, look how beautiful this is. In this one, I chose to do the second one minus the first one. In my other class, I decided to do the first one minus the second one. And look, I got the same thing, didn't I? The only thing that changed was I had positives here for this one, and in this one I had 2 negatives. But it was exactly the same. Okay, so it doesn't matter which way you go, which one you choose first, but whichever one you choose first, you have for your x's, you have to choose first for your y's. You have to keep the pattern the same. Okay. All right. Do I have questions on distance formula? Yes.
So when, because both the x coordinates are negatives, so how do you know when to put a negative and a minus?
So you're always going to put whatever the first number is, you're just going to copy it down, and then it should always be minus whatever the second number is. And if the second number is a negative, you rewrite that negative. But you're always taking the first number and subtracting the second number every time. So there should always be that negative sign there, that minus sign. Good question. Any other questions? Okay, give me a thumbs up, thumbs down. How do you feel about distance formula? Do you think you do a couple problems tomorrow with distance formula? Like a few? Okay, good. Let's do the last one now, midpoint formula. I think you guys are going to love this one because it's way easier. That was the hard one. This is the easy one. That was the hard one. So if that was the hard one, can you just imagine how great this next one's going to be? Life's going to be great. No, I promise you. Now, midpoint. What does midpoint mean?
Middle.
Point in the middle. Yeah. So if I'm looking for a point in the middle, here's all you have to do. You're going to take your x coordinates and you're going to find the average. Then you'll take your y coordinates and you'll find the average. So in other words, you're going to add them together and divide by 2. Add your y's together, divide by 2. That's it. That's all you got to do. Super simple. Okay. So for our midpoint, you're going to get 2 different answers. You're going to get an x value and a y value. So you're going to take x1 plus x2 and then divide it by 2. And I'm going to put a comma. That's my x value. And then I'm going to do the exact same thing for my y values. y1 plus y2 divided by 2. And that's it. It's the average of the 2 points. So I think you're going to like this one way more because it's very quick and very easy. Once you've written that, open up your flap. Okay. The hardest part for this formula is just making sure you get the coordinates right when you look at the graph. That's the hardest part, making sure your coordinates are right. Okay, example 3. Find the midpoint between points B and D. So the first thing I got to do is I got to write the coordinates of the points. Okay. Who can give me the coordinates of point B? Who hasn't given me one before? See, go ahead.
6, 2.
Positive 6, positive 2. Beautiful. So that's to the right 6, up 2. What about someone new? Point D. Point D. Someone new. Someone new. I'm just going to yell at someone who already answered a question. Kiki, what? Other way. Because you go to the left 8, and then you go down 4. So -8, -4. Okay, you ready to do some very easy algebra? Let's do it. So here's what we're going to do. We are going to add our x's together, divide by 2. Add our y's together, divide by 2. I'm putting m for midpoint. All right, which ones are your x values? 6 and -8, good. So maybe circle both of those or highlight both of those or something. So we're gonna add 6 plus -8 and divide by 2. That's gonna be my x coordinates. Which ones are my y coordinates? Yes? 2 and -4. We're going to add together 2 and -4. And then we're going to divide by 2. So again, it's just finding the averages between your x's and the averages between your y's. Now, when you're doing this, make sure you add the numbers on top first and then divide by 2. So let's be really careful of our signs here. What is 6 plus a -8? -2. Good. And then I'm going to take that and divide it by 2. Let's just finish that one. What do you get? What's a -2 divided by 2, Elijah? -1. Good. So your x-axis, or your x coordinate, excuse me, is at -1. What about your y values? What is 2 plus -4? Everybody. -2. Oh my gosh, what's -2 divided by 2? -1. Okay, I don't know if I heard the negative. So your midpoint is at -1, -1. Now, let's go to this graph and let's check our work. Let's check our work. So, from points B to D, here's the line. The midpoint should be somewhere on that line. And it is at -1, -1. That means you go to the left 1 and down 1. Does that point look like it's right in the middle?
Yeah.
Heck yeah, it does. So you're good. You're done. If it doesn't look like it's in the middle, what does that mean? It's wrong. If you get a point that's like somewhere over here, you're doing it wrong. It should be on the line. All right, questions? We ready for the last one? This one's even easier. Oh, believe it. Believe it. Watch this. Ready? Okay, example 4. M is the midpoint of AB. Find the coordinate of B if the coordinate of A is 3, 7 and the midpoint is 5, 10. Now, what is different about this problem than the last problem we just did? This time I gave you the midpoint. You also don't have a graph on this one either. So we're going to draw a picture. We're going to start by drawing a picture. M is in the middle of AB. So I'm going to draw a picture of segment A, B, and you're going to draw one too. Nice and big. Make it big. Probably should do bigger than mine, but make it big. M is the midpoint, so where is M located? In the middle. Yep. Here's M. I'm going to put these little tick marks here. Ooh, what do those tick marks mean?
I'll put that in.
I just told you the name. They're tick marks. What do they mean? Elijah?
That it's like the midpoint or something?
Well, yes, but what does that mean about these two pieces? If this is in the middle, what does it mean about these two pieces? They're exactly the same. Yes, exactly. So now we've got our picture. We're going to label our picture. A is 3, 7. So right underneath A, I'm going to put 3, 7. My midpoint M is 5, 10. And I don't know the coordinates of B. That's what I'm trying to figure out. So I'm going to put like a little question mark and a question mark. That's what I'm trying to solve for. Now, if the distance from A to M, or whatever the distance from A to M is, should be exactly the same as the distance from M to B. So let's look just at your X values. Which one is your X value in A? 3. Which one is your X value in M? 5. So let's use a little bit of logic here. To get from 3 to 5, what do you have to do? Add 2. So if you had to add 2 here, what do you think you have to do to get to point B over here? Oh, you better add 2 again. It has to be exactly the same. What's your X coordinate for point B? 7. Yeah, 5 plus 2? 7. Okay, you've got your X coordinate. Now you just need your Y coordinate. You better do the same thing. Good. To get from 7 to 10, we add 3. That means, yep, add 3 to get over here. And so you get 13. So your coordinates for point B is 7, 13. And you're done. That was it. Wasn't that one easier? That one's just patterns, right? I told you it would be easy. You didn't believe me. Ha. I would never. Okay, well, look, I'm not most teachers, clearly.
Math.
I'm not like most math teachers, clearly. All right, do we have any questions about anything I just did? Do you feel like tomorrow you could do some midpoint and distance practice with a friend? Good. Now, here's what you're going to do. You're going to take that paper and you're going to glue it into your notebooks. There's glue sticks in the center. Or if you want a stapler, I'll give you a staple and you can staple it in. I know some people do not like glue. You're probably going to have to put it sideways. And do not glue the flaps open. That's super unhelpful. Let me tell you, I've had some kids do some things, man. I've also had some kids staple them closed. I'm like, well, that's really unfortunate. Now what are you going to do? Right? So like, be smart about it. If you want a stapler, tell me and I'll give you the stapler. But I'm just going to staple mine personally because I don't like glue. And I'm going to staple it with my flaps open. Okay? And then once you've done that, you're going to put your stuff away. You're going to put your calculators away. You're going to put your binders away. You don't have any homework for me tonight. Unless you didn't do what you were supposed to do on Friday, which was what?
The practice.
There was a practice where? On Canvas. There were 4 questions. Yes, Kiki. 4 questions online on Canvas. It's what? Each question was 5 points. Look at you. You just know so much. Sounds like somebody did their homework. If you go back to modules and you go into Canvas, there is one that says addition postulates practice. That's the segment and angle addition postulates. If you did not do those 4 questions, you better get that done tonight. Okay? It is open for another 2 days. But since I'm not giving you anything else to do, tonight would be a really good choice for you to do it. Okay? You in your computers today? Yes. Heck yes. Well, look, just tell me when you get them because then once we get them, we can start doing more things. But
Where do we go?
I think you get them in your English class. Yeah. Well, you're about to. You're going to real soon.
He's been out. We've had some.
Who is it?